Good afternoon, my name is Victor Valle, and I will be describing my first time parachuting from an aircraft while in flight at 1,250 feet above ground level. This occurred in Fort Benning, Georgia, which is located in Columbus, Georgia, approximately 80 miles south of Atlanta, Georgia. Airborne training is broken down into 3 weeks: ground, tower, and jump week. During ground and tower week, you master the individual skills necessary to successfully and safely exit and land. I remember the Monday when we conducted our first jump. We ran from our barracks all the way down to the airfield. Once in the airfield, we conducted sustained airborne training, which basically recaps all the procedures necessary to safely exit the aircraft and safely land. We also rehearsed the parachute landing falls. Once that was conducted, we went ahead into the hangar and donned our parachutes. Once we got our inspections to make sure that our parachutes were safe for use, we loaded the aircraft. Once in the air, the jump masters began their commands. We stood up, we hooked up to the aircraft, and one by one, we began to exit or jump from the aircraft. I was about the number 10 jumper, so I saw 9 of my buddies jump out first. I was pretty nervous at the time, but the moment where I really realized that it was real and it was about to happen was when the jump masters opened the door. The doors were open. It was a beautiful day. You can see clearly down to 150 feet above ground level. All you see is trees and houses and a bunch of dirt. At this time, I was asking myself, what am I doing? This can't happen. Why am I jumping from a perfectly good aircraft? But there was no turning back at this point. After my buddies went out and my turn came, I handed my universal static line to the jump master. He held it and tapped me on my butt, which signaled for me to go ahead and jump out. At this point, all I can do was remember my training. The first part was go ahead and maintain a good tight body position, keep my chin on my chest and my eyes open, and then count to 4. I remember doing everything correctly minus keeping my eyes open, which was probably the hardest thing to do. I did not open my eyes until I felt the opening shock of my parachute. At that point, I opened up my eyes. I looked up to ensure the parachute was open and that there was nothing wrong with it. At this point, I was extremely excited. My heart was pumping, but my experience was not over yet. I remember that the landing was the most difficult part and is where most of the injuries happen. So at this point, it's about 10 seconds up in the air. I see myself coming down, and I realize that I'm to the point where I have to prepare for my landing. So once again, I remember my training. I remember that if the wind was blowing from my right to my left, I will pull down on my right risers all the way down to my chest, keep my chin on my chest, and prepare to land. So that is what I did. I'm looking straight ahead because I do not want to look on the ground and then reach for the ground, which creates injuries. So I'm there. This time my eyes are open. My eyes are open. I'm ready for the shot as I hit the ground. I'm waiting for it. I hit, and to my knowledge that I can still remember, it was a perfectly good parachute landing fall. At that point, I released my canopies, which holds the parachute into my harness, so I would not be drugged. I rapidly went ahead and secured my parachute inside the aviator's kit bag and ran to the assembly area. At this point, my heart was still pumping. It was the greatest and most scariest feeling I've ever felt in my life. But I would not trade it for the world. Currently, I still jump out. I have 70 jumps, but none are as exciting as that first one was. I hope you have enjoyed my description on the first time that I jumped from an aircraft while in flight. Thank you.